Hello everybody. Look, we all know that water is precious, but it also can be dangerous. We live from Hammanskraal, where water challenges have really thrown into the spotlight the issue of water quality. Is this drinkable? We've got to discuss this. Follow me. It's Topical. A very good evening to South Africa and those watching around the world. My name is Blaine Herman and this is It's Topical. We're coming to you live from the Hammanskraal Community Centre. We're here to give this community's concerns a voice. We're dedicating an hour to listen to these concerns, the realities on the ground. I know, an hour, never enough. But I guess it gives us a step in the right direction to get the answers that this community so desperately needs. We have a number of role players. I'll introduce them in a short while. They have the answers. So that's the main aim, the mission of today's program. What do we know so far? The reality is that over 20 people have lost their lives. We need answers. Over 50 confirmed, lab-confirmed cholera cases. We need answers. Is it infrastructure issues? Is it neglect? Is it complacency of some kind? Is it incompetence? We need answers. You get the refrain, right? That is what we're going to search for today, which leads us to our question of the week. And we ask you, amid the water crisis in Hammanskraal, what do you think is the long-term solutions to this area, but not only this area? Maybe other municipalities going through the same thing can learn some lessons from this area. Let us know at It's Topical SABC. We also have our live audience here. They are going to be posing answers or questions rather to our guests as well. We have the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Minister Senzo, Mchunu, as well as the Tshwane MMC for Human Settlements, Cllr Ofentse Madzebatela. They are here to answer your questions. Context coming up. All right, let's get for you a sense of what we know and why it matters. And for that, I want to bring up a few slides to better illustrate my point. Context always important. It helps us understand where we are, state of play, and where we're going to. So we'll put up some of these slides for you to give you some background to our conversation today. And we're talking about the issue of access to water, fundamental human right. In 1994, only about 59% of South Africa's population had access to water supply infrastructure. According to the 2022 census report, half of South African households now have piped water. Progressive. What about the issue of the city of Tshwane's water tankers in Hammanskraal? You've heard a lot about that. The supply of drinking water to the residents here. We're told 52 tankers, water tankers, are sent to informal settlements 3 times a week. We understand that the number of days has been increased to 5 times a week following the cholera outbreak, except for Thursdays and Sundays until the end of May 2023. 40 water tankers, 40 water trucks are sent to formal areas daily in Region 2. Now, the big issue, the cholera outbreak, contamination and transmission. Have a look at this. What is it? Basically, a bacterial disease, usually spread through contaminated water. It causes severe diarrhea, also dehydration. If left untreated, and here's the worry, if left untreated, cholera can be fatal in a matter of hours, right? Both children and adults are at risk of contracting cholera. And once ingested, the bacteria remains in the feces for 1 to 10 days. And also, cholera cases have been confirmed, as you know, in Gauteng, Limpopo, and the Free State. Context, as always, matters. This is what we're talking about. Why it matters, perspective coming up. But before we get there, I want to give you a sense of the agony that these residents right here are going through. Take a look at this montage.
we are tired of this crisis of water here in Hammanskraal.
Really, Hammanskraal is disgusting. We are in a very, very critical situation. They always promise, they always say, but they don't act, they don't do. We don't know what to do. Now we've got a big crisis. Cholera is here.
Reports of the outbreak started emerging last Friday, and those who survived say it was a dire situation.
First, I come to the hospital. I was too bad. Too bad. Was okay. But what I
E botlhoko nako e nna ke le ko teng ko jubile ko nna ke sa itse nna ke tlhatsa ke tsene ka mola ke tlhatsa ke tsene ka mola ka stretchera mola nna ke le wese nna ke sa khone lo ema nna ke sa khone lo eng o sa tsene selo le metsi.
The facility here, as I said, is to make sure that we bring, one, it's prevention in terms of messaging to make people aware of what is this cholera, what causes it, how do you avoid it.
The question of the investigation, we don't want to rush it. There's an agreement, we're not going to rush it because we need to get to the bottom of this.
The city's own tests have indicated that the water coming from the taps is not the source of the cholera.
We brought the water for Brink to drink that water so that he can get the taste of his medicine.
69-year-old Cllr Solomon Manamela was grappling with a long illness before he was infected by the acute diarrheal bacteria caused by cholera.
Because government
Government ha e tseba too serious e metse hore ba so hore ba tletla ba tlo kry di services.
Look, you can hear and see the pain and anguish is palpable, right, on the people's faces, what they're going through. How dire is the situation? Let's discuss. We have the Minister, as I mentioned, Minister of Water and Sanitation, Senzo Mchunu, as well as Cllr Ofentse from Tshwane MMC for Human Settlements. Appreciate both of your time. Just a reminder to our live audience as well, if you have any questions, please raise your hands. We have a number of roving mics here. We'll get to you if you want to speak in your mother tongue. Feel free to do that. We want to get as much clarity as possible from you tonight. Minister, to you first. And you hear it often on the ground. Why do people have to die in order to get work done? How do you respond to people's concerns?
Well, thank you very much. Good evening to you. Good evening to the community of Hammanskraal and the viewers generally. Now, that question needs to be answered twice. The first one is that no one needs to die before matters like this get addressed. But at the same time, even after an ugly and sad incident like this, you can't say because it has happened, we no longer have to do anything. You have to address this problem even after. Regrettably that it is after. But at the same time, I want to insist that, as I said before, this problem could have been addressed long ago.
Yeah.
That's how I would respond.
I was looking at, in 2019, the South African Human Rights Commission declared the water that was unfit for human consumption. after the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research independent sample analysis. So it's not a new issue, MMC. Why did it have to get to this stage?
Good evening, Blaine, and to the viewers at home as well as the residents of Hammanskraal. We come here at a very tough time, and maybe probably to say even the city of Tshwane in 2018, before the 2019 study, had already said that this water is not palatable. It is unfortunate that the situation has happened, but like the minister said, we cannot then say we are not doing anything about it. Steps were taken as far as 2016 to really start trying to address this issue. And as you have seen during the week, the reasons why we have not really achieved what we wanted to achieve due to lack of performance of contractors and. But it's not something that as government we have not done anything. It's something that we've been working towards solving this problem.
Right. So currently, the water that is coming out of our taps, you saw the earlier link that we did with regards to the water here. Can residents drink water from the tap at this stage?
No, they cannot be drinking that water.
Why not?
It's the reasons that we have given as far back as 2018. The water, like you know, that we do different types of tests to water before we can declare it to be palatable or to be consumable. And the tests have shown that the quality of water that is coming out of some areas in Hammanskraal should not be ingested. And the reasons are that they do not meet the threshold of a water that should be consumed.
So what is it? You said the alert went out as early as 2018?
Yes.
So what has been done over these years in order to get it up to the standard that it's drinkable?
Look, like I have already indicated, that as far back as 2018, 2019, the city has said that this issue should be addressed. In fact, the problem dates back way back in 2004. And the city has, in 2018, appointed a contractor to really deal with the issue, because you must also look at it with the context that it is. The reason why the water that is coming out of the taps is not drinkable is because of the pollutants that are coming upstream of the Upist River due to the Rooiwal waste treatment plant that is putting in sewage into that river because of its incapacity to deal with the amount of sewage that is coming on that side. So what we need to do is to solve that issue in order to address the issue of water in Hammanskraal. So how do we address that? There are different phases to this project, and the city has committed money in solving that issue. The phase 1 of the project is at 68%. So therefore, we're still remaining with the other percentage in order to complete it. When that is done, then it improves the quality, but it does not bring it to the standard of it to be drunk. Then we have to go into phase 2 and phase 3, which is something that we have been discussing with the minister and other role players.
So I'll come back to you, Minister, but just to understand, even after all this money is going to be invested in Rooiwal to get it up to scratch, it still won't, residents still won't be able to drink that water?
After phase 1 is completed, it will still not be, as we are told by the technicians and the scientists. We need to go into phase 2 and phase 3. Then, after then we can be able to say the water.
When will that be?
This is a 5-year program, based on what the technicians are saying.
So 5 years, residents, and you can hear the anger. Residents won't have drinkable water coming out of the tap. Minister, last year, if I remember correctly, and please, audience, if you want to raise any concerns, you can get up your hands now. We'll get your, okay. Xolani, let's get some questions as well while I ask the Minister, just with regards to what was said last year from the South African Human Rights Commission, recommending that national government take over the Water and Sanitation Department in the city of Tshwane. What's the conversations around that?
Look, MMC is right. In 2004, the city of Tshwane was given a warning about Rooiwal. 2004. And then I'm told there was another warning in 2007. And from 2011, that's way before we went to water, between 2011 and I think 2021, there have been 6 directives given by DWS to the city to say, go and fix that particular problem. This is the problem, this is the problem, and it has got details. Now, throughout the period, I must say, Tshwane's response hasn't been helpful to themselves, to the water sector, including our department, but also in the main, not helpful at all to the people of Hammanskraal, unfortunately. Now, when we came in August 2021, we realized that there's a problem here ourselves now, and we engaged the mayor, the then mayor of Tshwane, to say, we need to intervene in this problem as a national department. And we even suggest that in order to intervene because of the laws allocating responsibilities, we need to jointly approach Gauteng government to say they must impose Section 139 on you, so that with our Section 63, which requires to be combined with Section 139, it will allow us to then intervene. Now, intervention is not to say you are removing somebody from their existence and so on. It just means that you realize that there's a weakness here and there, which is above what they can do, or there's a problem that they have. You then intervene. You work with them. You ratify the problem. Now, at that time, when we wrote a letter, the mayor rejected our suggestion outright and said, no, we just want your money. That's how we put it, not you, and so on. Now,
just the money to do what?
Pardon?
The money to do what?
To, I suppose, to fix Royval. Now, but we now know, all of us, that they did get, or they did put aside a small portion of money to try and fix it. But that initiative was not completed. It's because of internal problems, I suppose. It could be supply chain management. It could be capacity to handle projects of this nature. And therefore, the whole thing just fizzled out in the process. Now, what we are saying now, we had a meeting with the mayor of Tshwane in Cape Town that other Wednesday. We agreed that, look, we need to intervene here. And for that to happen, we need to talk. And then we then instructed officials, both in Tshwane and DWS, to craft a document that will enable us to have a discussion. Now, because of the deaths here, we couldn't wait for 2 weeks. We then had to bring it back, and we had a meeting on an emergency basis. And the document was presented, and we discussed it, and we accepted it. It was accepted by Tshwane, it was accepted by us, which is something that we could have done, or we should have done long ago.
So you're saying there's a better cooperation now?
Pardon?
You're saying there's better cooperation now with the city?
What remains to be done in that document, which is now happening on Tuesday? There are certain small parts that need to be refined or finalized with other departments, for instance, Department of Finance and Department of Human Settlement. So officials are hard at work. Now, once that has been done, we will then make firm announcements on what needs to be done to Royval, to the whole system up to Temba Reservoir, in detail. 2, it will come up with the time frame that is required to do that work. 3, it will indicate the amount of money that will need to go into that, where we've sourced it, and that this is the amount. We now have this funding for this. And the proposal, which we all accepted, was that Tshwane internally they don't have capacity to handle this matter. However, we do want them to be part of the whole project, and therefore we're going to look for an implementing agent that will efficiently and professionally run this so that we don't have a repeat of a project that just falls apart before it gets completed.
Minister, I need to take a quick break. When we return, we're going to go directly to the audience, the live audience, hear their concerns, get their concerns, their questions answered. More next. Welcome back. You're watching It's Topical. We're live from Hammanskraal. We heard the cries of the people, so we decided to come here and hear for ourselves what is going on the ground. But we also went into the community to get a sense of what they're going through, the realities they are facing. Take a look.
This is not, an issue that's only affecting, people from the capital city, Pretoria. It's affecting, the country. We can't be dealing with water, purification, contaminated water. No, it's not okay. It's very wrong. It's sad.
This thing has been here for a long time. It's, I'm sure, more than 2 decades. DA, but they will do better. But it's worse than the former government. So, our $4.something million. What happened to that money? Because that money was supposed for
For this water, you can't even boil it, because when you get home, there's load shedding also. You can't even boil the water. So it's quite a crisis. We can't keep on buying. We have kids, we have wives. We can't keep on buying water.
To get 20 deaths, that's not a joke. That's 20 people who died. So the government needs to account and let us know what actions did they take when they first found out about the epidemic.
I blame the government serious 100% because of what is happening right now. They don't even show remorse. We've been sitting here, nobody came to assist, nobody did anything. I believe we need to gather together. I believe somebody has to take responsibility of this.
I just want to get you an update with regards to the situation here in Gauteng. I've just seen a statement from the Gauteng Department of Health with regards to the cholera cases in Hammanskraal. So as of 6 p.m. on Saturday, the number of lab-confirmed cases of cholera seen at Jubilee is standing at 48. And to date, 23 people have unfortunately passed away. Let's hear from the people now. That's why we came here. Questions from our audience, a number of hands coming up. Just remember, we might not get to all the questions, but we'll try our very best to get to the nub of the issues. Xolani and Maswile are on the floor. Xolani, to you first. Who do you have?
Thank you so much. This is Raymond. I've been living in Hammanskraal for... Thank you so much. Raymond, I've been living in Hammanskraal for over 30 years. And I hear the minister and they don't hear that.
The MMC.
The minister and the MMC saying 2017, 2018. We've had this problem for the last 17 years. Not 2018, not 2017. So, and in that 5 years that they're talking about, we were in Mahali's water. We were paying good rates, having clean water. The solution to this problem now, while they have that 5 years, connect us to Mahali's water is just across the road. Then we have clean water, and they will sort out what the bill is. Lastly, they talk about procurement and so on. We have issues of load shedding. There is a declaration of state of disaster. People are not dying. Where people are dying, they tell us about procurement processes, supply chain management. Those must be declared a state of disaster. Things must be put in place. That 5 years is a lot. At the moment, they must connect us to Mahali's, then we get clean water. They will sort out their bills with Mahali's. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. We'll get the response in a short while. Maswila, who do you have?
Hell guy. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Narubulela ka rukopa urlirela ka mahalis. Le fe metsa mahalis senga ro rival. Rukopa fela le rile mahalis re boela go mahalis ka rent a tenne le go tlase. Bila tenne lo right. La artista metsa mahalis a di bo go fela so. All right. Assembly. Nyaka mahalis le twa mo lo connected pipe tsa le metsa mahalis. Once.
In short, he's reiterating what the other gentleman said, that they need to be connected to Mahalis water, not Roival.
All right, thank you very much. Let's just take one more before we get comments from our panel. Kolani?
Okay.
All right, Maswele, over to you.
Then why barbary say Mediago City of Tshwane guy. So what hata shibu barbary say Mediadi Lord again. Adi Lord is it. Negiago is Lord is there. Had it is a meeting, but it has it or Riziana going on Ekananga or Badi Tatsena. Agere highlights a meet. Chanesi Hubeli television or inspection or Lori ill, Haina Mahot or Haina Sisi. Kauri na embonza kare batho ba ilo swa ka bontsi kare if ba le ba di lori ne ba tisametse e checkile ke mang buka ya yona e ka ya hore o laisa metsi wa isa go kana batho go kana ba teng o tlo ikarabela ke bona ba swanga bontsi nna ke ya le mo ile hore yo namel ka boshiu me bo sware hari.
He wants to know if the lorries. The gentleman wants to know if the lorries that are delivering water in the communities are up to standard, they are inspected, or if there's anything that is done to make sure that the water in the lorries are up to standard.
Good point. We'll put that to the panel. Just one more, Kolani, before we get to the answers.
Yeah, thank you, Lane. Thank you to the viewers and people of Hammanskraal. I want to shoot direct to the minister regarding this one. Actually to government. From what you were responding to, Minister, I consider you complicit and DW as to this crime of murder. You have two legislative powers that you should have utilized in terms of intervention. Why do you treat the city of Tshwane with kid gloves? You waited you had to wait in order for this crime to happen. Now we have lost so many lives at this stage. We come here, now we are going to discuss it in a very cozy manner. I think this is a crime against humanity, and definitely you are both answerable, City of Tshwane as well as national government. Fellow, what you call, they've said it's for the past 18 years that this problem happened. Now we come to address it in a manner like this one, when people have lost their lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's take it to the panel. Let's start with the last one first, Minister. The issue of accountability. How do you respond? Accountability, the issue of accountability.
Now, look, government at a local level, at a provincial level, at a national level, must be accountable for and must be transparent. And that accountability is to the people of South Africa. And in this instance, it must be to the people of Hammanskraal, and in any other instance, to people who are relevant in that. Let me answer this question by the Ubabala. Look, you have those laws at your disposal, but you couldn't use them. You couldn't use Section 63 because you needed 139. But let me leave all these laws. I'm just saying we couldn't do that. unless we had to intervene in Tshwane unlawfully. But the reality of the matter is that there was a problem with the former mayor of Tshwane who didn't want to talk to us about this matter. Now, there is a difference now. The mayor, the current mayor, is willing to engage with us. That is what has happened in the meeting that we had, enabling us to then move on the matter. As a matter of fact, we are likely to have another meeting because if once the officials are done on Tuesday, we want to conclude all our matters this week. I mean, this very week that is starting tomorrow. If they finish on Monday, on Tuesday, we then have a meeting on the following day, and then we announce to the people of Hammanskraal, this is the concrete plan, everything there. We regret that people have lost their lives. It's regrettable. There's no question about that. It's a sad thing to the families, to all of us. But we now have to learn from those errors, get to work, and finish the task and prevent a situation where any other thing of a similar nature happen here or in any other municipality, for that matter.
MMC, stemming from the question from the gentleman that we heard, do you think that the city has blood on its hands?
Look, it's not that simple, plain. We cannot just say the city has blood on its hands. Number one, not knowing what is causing this. It's also happening in Free State. We have had a death right now in the Free State. And we are also having the same outbreak happening now in Mpumalanga. So we really need to find what is the source as a country, and not just per se to the city of Tshwane. But coming to the issue of the questions that were raised, yes, the water tankers are being tested on a regular basis, and there are spot checks to check the compliance of these water tankers. They are drawing the water that they are providing from hydrants that are having clean water, and these hydrants are also tested on a regular basis, and there is documentation to that effect. Now, the issue of Magalies, we need to understand it for the context that Magalies was, remember, Magalies was maintaining and running the water treatment plant, I think around 2012, 2011, and then the contract ended. Then the city of Tshwane took over the water treatment plant. Now, the water back then was clean, yes, correct, but right now the pollutants, it's more. We are having more people living here, we are having more pollutants coming from the Abyss River. So by that time, remember, we had not dealt with the amount of pollutant that we are dealing with that is coming into this. So our biggest problem is not who's running that, it's how do we fix river, and then we will be able to deal with the situation.
With regards, I was speaking to an infrastructure expert just before we came here, and he was saying that these plants need to be tested every day. There needs to be a dedicated person to take these readings, and once a month, an independent person needs to come in and verify, and then those results on a monthly basis needs to be put forward to council so that everybody knows. Is this happening?
Yes, we are having regular tests, we are having monthly tests on these plants.
Daily?
We are having regular tests on a daily basis on these plants. But maybe you need to put it into the context of what this is. The issue of tests, the tests come out and they say the water is not drinkable. That is true. So the tests are done. If the tests were not done, we would not know if this is not drinkable. So the tests are done, and then we find that the water is not drinkable.
All right, let's hear from the community with regards to if you agree or not. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, just a quick question. Nah? So I think to the panel, we've been lied to a lot of times. We had a MMC come into this very hall addressing the issue of water, so that MMC came, no solution. We had an MMC, we even went to Tshwane House as a community to speak to the MMC, no solution. We invited the MMC to our community in Renstown to come and address the issue of water. He made promises, no solution. So my question is, People are dying now. What is the solution now? I see you speaking about your 5-year term, but the situation is killing us now. Right now, the community of Renstown, we are actually forced to pay for that water. And apparently we are the only community that is forced to pay for that water. What are you doing as the government now to solve the solution? Your 5-year term won't solve anything because people would have been dead by then. So what is the current plan now? What are you going to do after this meeting? What are you going to do for this community of Hammanskraal to get clean water? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's get a response. There was earlier on as well a mention of a state of emergency in order to get things done. Is that viable? There was also the concern, look, the request now is that for community members to boil water. But when you don't have electricity, how are you expected to do all these things? Is there a way that you can omit or prevent load shedding from happening in this community while we sort things out? Yes, sir.
Now, I want to answer that question. When we decided on this path, we realized that in the interim, what do we do in order to provide people of Hammanskraal with clean water? Now, Tshwane has tankers that are running here. I don't know how many, but there are tankers. That's what we were told. That's what we were told. Then number two, now we agreed with them that water that get carried by tankers must be water from Mahali's system, or it must be water from Rand water system, because both of them are here. They supply guaranteed water, treated water, clean water, but of course, that water needs to be checked on a regular basis. But we then said, where possible, which we'll get on Tuesday, we're going to get to know from the briefing of officials whether it is not possible to extend one of the systems, either Mahali's system or Rand water system, to supply water instead of Temba supplying, but we get the supply from either Mahali's or we'll get that report on Tuesday. But let me just allay your fears. It's not going to take us 5 years to deal with that matter. It will be in stages. But we will get to know on Tuesday when they present, because we said this is an emergency issue. It shouldn't take long, even if it means the project running in phases such that we fix it up to a particular level. And then we guarantee that it can now supply clean water to people. Then we allow that, and then we do another section and so on. But it shouldn't take a very long time. And even that time that was projected to us when the presentation was done, we said we want it rolled back, and they said it's possible.
Yeah,
thank you.
I mean, you just hear the urgency from the community members, and I must correct myself. It's not state of emergency, state of disaster. Would that help in any way if this area is declared a state of disaster? State of disaster. If an area is declared, would that help? Just to answer one of the audience questions.
Well, the state of disaster is a situation declared by COCTA. We haven't heard them on the matter, and it's not likely that they are going to do that. But on our side, we are treating this situation together with Tshwane and other relevant departments as an emergency situation, because we need to move with speed, great speed. Even, well, we have to be legal with all the processes, but we have to try and cut them short so that we get to Rooival, because that's the source of the problem, and start ratifying what needs to be ratified.
All right, let's go back to the audience as well. Maswile, who do you have? All right, we'll get you in a short while. I understand this is Lucas. Now, Lucas, just to put you in the picture, Lucas lost his mother Lucas lost his mother. Please listen. On the 19th of May, and he's been battling ever since. Lucas, tell us your story.
Dumela. Nakena Lucas ke lusitse mma ka 19 and then na re mmoloka mabane because of this cholera. So re heteile go lapeng ka cholera and na ke khupela hore government dira something about this matter cause rena ba bang rutwa botlhoko. Thank you.
All right. Lydia, you also, we understand we have Lydia as well, and I'm told Lydia lost her sister just last week. Was today the funeral, Lydia?
Bisa la ka ke nna Lydia Mashimzi ke nna ko Kanana extension 2 ke lositse ausa ka ba ke nsa le baka la pandemic so mo ke mmoteng mo ke hetehile thata ke tsore ke re cause of ausa ka ne le breadwinner o shile bana e sa le ba banyane ha re tsore ro tswa byang ka bona.
All right, Lydia, thank you very much indeed. Look, obviously the pain of this outbreak is all too apparent. Xolani?
Thank you. You know, it really worries to say they know the solution. They know what must be done. Here is the minister telling us that the trucks must go to Rand Water and Magali's Water to get water for us. This water, we've been drinking it in the past. Why can't they connect us with it? They are not willing to do so because he's talking about appointing an agency that will deal with Royval because it will benefit the comrades. These trucks are benefiting the comrades. They are maintaining the truck tankers because the branch leaders here in Hammanskraal, the district leaders, the regional leaders are eating from the trucks. Therefore, they can't eradicate the truck tankers. We are asking them, when we live here, don't tell me about Tuesday document. You told me that 23 people died. It's 24. Someone just died on our way here. People are dying. When we leave this meeting, it will be 25, 26. You tell me that Tuesday you are finalizing a document. Another one is not even ashamed. He's telling us about 5-year plan. When we live here, we have to drink water. We have been paying for this water. And the question is one, since you know that Rand Water and Magali's provide better water than you, why don't you stop the trucks and connect us to that water? Simple as that. We can walk out of this meeting done right now, right here. Okay. We don't need to be talking these trucks. Leave the trucks out of it. They are killing us. People are dying with water from these trucks. Because some of them are lazy to go fetch water at Magali's and water. They just fetch it anyway. And they tell us they are testing these things. We have the drivers who are our family members. They tell us these things are never tested. Stop lying to us. We are not fools.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. All right, MMC, is that an option in terms of getting water from the source that he's suggesting? Is that an option?
Look, remember that we sit here and we are still waiting for the joint committee from the officials to tell us that possibility. Like the minister has already alluded, that they will be exploring, including the very option of connection. So we have to then wait for that Tuesday, unless then we are saying we're just going to pick a pipe and connect. It's not going to happen like that. What we need to do is to find the technicians, the engineers, to ensure that the infrastructure is possible. If it's not possible, what is the quickest solution to all of this problem? Look, it's been long and we understand the frustration. And we send our condolences to the ones that have lost their lives. But we are saying, at the end of the day, we are here today and we want to be accountable. We're not going to hide. Past administrations have tried and have done all of those things. But the minister and together with the mayor have agreed that this joint committee will come up with a solution on Tuesday, and we will come back through the leadership that is in front here to give the feedback of to say this is what the time frames are looking like and this is what the solution will be.
Minister, the other issue was assurances that everything is above board with regards to the contracts that are being put out there, with regards to those agency that is going to come and take over or augment or mitigate in certain areas. What assurances can you give the community that everything is above board and you have, as government, their interests at heart?
Now, firstly, just in response to the gentleman that spoke, I think it is a view and a proposal that is that needs to be looked at, and maybe combined with Tshwane and invite provincial government just to make sure that water that is supplied via trucks is clean water. It doesn't get fetched everywhere on a temporal basis. Now I'm responding. I'm responding to that proposal. That it's a proposal that we need to. I've already said part of what we will get on Tuesday as a response is to check possibility of connecting to Mahalis or to Randwater. So we're going to do both. Just ensure that whatever water gets supplied is clean, but also get the possibility. We even said calculate the distance from, we were told that the Randwater line is very far, it's about 20 kilometers. We need to check all those details and find out. But you are right, we need to explore that possibility. Now, you are then asking a different question to say, what is it that you said, what was the question?
Assurances. Assurances that the community can leave this place and say, well, they have our best interests at heart.
No. Once we finalize what is being discussed on Wednesday or so, we will be sure of that plan that will have been crafted. We will come and announce it to the public and to everybody, South Africa as a whole, and that plan will be guaranteed as we publicize it. We will guarantee this is time, this is funding, this is the person or the implementing agent who is going to run. We don't want any risk there, because I think people are quite right to be very angry and behave in the way, because I mean, this thing has taken a long time, and now it has ended up taking lives, and therefore we must take it seriously, extremely seriously, and treat it with all the care and close all the risks that we can see, so that finally, at the end of the day, we deliver water, clean water to the people of Hammanskraal.
We have just under 5 minutes left on the program, so let's take the last round of questions. Maswili?
Nagena Johnny Sivanda, ke tswa ke le mokanana. Ke nna mo 1262. Ke lositse maga last week la bobedi. Ke molokile ka tsheko. So na ne kere ba re thuse ka pela, then ba re fe metsi a matlini. Ba ska tla mo ke ba tlo re botsa hore ba tlo re thusa go sofa batho ba tlhokofetse. Nako tle ne ntse ba itse re metsi a ditshile na ba sa re thuse ka selo. So sentse ba ire something ba re fe metsi a matlini. Thank you.
So in simple, he's saying his mother, and she was buried today, and he's asking the leadership to provide water, and he's saying the leadership knew all along that water in Hammanskraal is not clean, but they didn't do anything, so he's pleading with them to provide solutions before things get worse than it is now.
Thanks, Masudi. My deepest condolences to you and your family. Let's just take the last question and get a quick response. We've got a minute left.
Yeah, just a quick one, Minister. We have a crisis of water due to river, but that's something that is going to affect us also in the future. As you are the Minister of Water and Sanitation in the city of Tshwane, how do you then deal with the pit toilets that were surrounded with 70% of Hammanskraal were using pit toilets? And it's something that we don't talk about. When you speak about an intervention, also mention the issue of pit toilets. In one yard, we have 5 holes or 10 holes in just 1 yard. Toilet is a mushima problem, and it's something that is going to cause viruses, bacteria going forward. So you must also explore that, much as you are looking into the issue of river. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much indeed. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. If I can ask you, I know it's not ideal. We'll have more conversations like this going forward, obviously after Tuesday as well. But in 30 seconds, if you can just respond.
Well, we will do so. We will look at the issue of sanitation. You're probably correct. At some point, we were providing honeysuckers and so on in the western part, that other part. And I've always insisted that Gauteng, Human Settlement Department, and Tshwane, they need to look at how to control settlement here. Because if you keep on allowing more and more people in a way that, or in a manner that is not organized, to provide services before you settle people, we'll always have a problem with this, but we'll take that on board and plan maybe medium term so that we start proper sanitation for the people of Hammanskraal. It's a point.
MMC, last word to you.
Look, the city is committed to solving the issue of water, and we remain committed to dealing with whatever issues of service delivery that are facing the city. But I also agree with the minister that the issue of settlements that are continuing to sprue must be frowned upon, and that is why we are calling on the law enforcement, the police, as well as the Home Affairs to really help us with these land grabs and to ensure that we minimize these land grabs, because at the end they are the ones that are also causing issues of service delivery.
All right, Minister, MMC, thank you very much indeed. A live audience as well. As I said, 1 hour is never enough to get down to the bottom of it, but hopefully that you got some answers that we can hold people accountable. Remember, Tuesday, we're going to hear much more with regard to this plan, so no doubt we will hold those in power accountable as the SABC. Thank you very much indeed. Before I go, here's my take. Everybody has a right to have access to sufficient water. Everybody has the right to live in an environment that is not harmful or to their well-being, to their health. These are fundamental human rights, you would agree. And if we can't get these two things right, then we really need to take a serious look at who we are as a nation, who we are as government. Political finger-pointing, forget about it. It doesn't help anyone. It all boils down to the people on the ground, the realities that they're going through. Prioritize the people. So let's get it right before we are left with more fatalities on our watch. And that's my take. If you missed anything, be sure to watch this episode of It's Topical on YouTube. Sports Live up next. If you're watching a repeat of this program, as always, the news continues. Until next week, my brothers and sisters, take care. Bye-bye.